So we've been following this story following this trial, since the beginning. We've had opening statements by both the defense, both the prosecution, that is Derek Hines for the prosecution, and Abby Lowell in defense of Hunter Biden, laying out their case. We know the gun store owner will be a witness as well for the prosecution. But let's focus in on this witness now. This FBI agent that will be talking and releasing and talking about these images that some of us have already seen, and then text messages in relation to this 2018 possession of a gun and illegal or use of illegal substances. Kate, where do you see this going for the prosecution?
Well, I think if you have an FBI agent coming out with evidence, I think it's going to go very well for the prosecution. I mean, that's just one of the many things that Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family are involved in. Right? It's not just guns, it's drugs, it's possible sexual assaults, as you have seen in their diaries, in different pictures. It's taking money from foreign powers. I hope that they pull on the thread and they unravel the entire thing.
Goes without saying, but in the U.S. justice system, you are innocent until proven guilty. Doesn't matter who is called or who's at the heart of the case. But Tom, as Kate was sort of commenting on, you've got text messages about what appear to be efforts to purchase guns purchase drugs around the time of this gun purchase. Obviously, photographs of guns. And then testimony from, the ex-wife, the girlfriend at the time. There's a lot that will be presented to this jury. What are you watching for from the prosecution?
Well, certainly there's overwhelming evidence that Hunter Biden broke the law. Even in his book, he talked about how he was under influence of drugs during the time that he purchased the gun. I mean, the evidence is clear. It's overwhelming. Texts, videos, the whole deal. But what we have to watch and note the difference between the venues. When former President Trump was found guilty of a crime, that was with a jury who was mostly Democrat and a judge was against him. Here, Biden's on his home turf. He's in Delaware. The former First Lady was in the audience looking at the jury. You have to wonder what kind of decision they're going to make in spite of overwhelming evidence.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Kate, I was talking with Emma, sharing my thoughts about this, offline, is that we continue to talk about, look at the prosecution and all the evidence they have. And it is overwhelming. I mean, it really is. You have testimony. You actually have text and images and an ATF form and the gun store owner. And then we go straight to the judge and Noriega, a Trump-appointed judge, and this could be 25 years. It could be $750,000 fine. But we're missing the middle piece, which is the most important. That is 12 jurors listening to this case, listening to the defense, as Tom rightfully pointed out, looking in the crowd, knowing, remember, these are Delaware residents. Some even claim that they were acquaintances with Jill Biden, and they were dismissed from the case, some stepping away from this case. But they're a very well-known family, obviously, in Delaware. The Bidens are, and you see them in court right there in front of them. You're talking about substance abuse and, again, addiction issues, which many of these jurors, as we've seen, they claim they can relate to. They've had a family member who was touched by this, etc. The emotional aspect, could that potentially play a part, aside from the fact of the Bidens being so well known by this panel of jurors? Kate?
I think it absolutely will play into it. I mean, you're supposed to get a jury of your peers. President Trump certainly did not get that. I don't know who his peers exactly would be. But if you look at the dichotomy between the two trials, it's staggering, the difference. I mean, Joe Biden himself went to go put pressure on one of the witnesses. That's apparently not a big deal. They're going to do this on their home turf where there's all this familiarity. Like, I just feel like these people are Teflon. I don't know what it's going to take to get something to stick, but hopefully these jurors realize that they actually have a job as a juror to look at the actual evidence and make a decision together and not just be blinded by that family and their power.
Okay, so here's the defense's argument. And by the way, the White House has said with that meeting with Hallie Biden, They did not discuss the trial. That's at least the White House's statement on it. Wanted to get that on record. Okay, so the defense arguing here, Abby Lowell, that Hunter Biden had periods of sobriety, according to reports, claiming that he did not consider himself to be addicted at the time of the gun purchase. And then they also made a comment about the gun salesman here, that he considered himself to be a whale hunter, wanting to make this firearm sale to Hunter Biden, that they skirted protocol because he didn't have a driver's license, so instead looked at a passport, so they didn't have an address. And according to Lowell, it was the firearms salesman here that had already checked off certain boxes, including a purchaser's potential substance abuse. So again, this is from the defense. Tom, that obviously would sort of change the narrative. How are you viewing these initial arguments as we get them in from various reports? Keep in mind, there's no electronic communication from inside the courtroom to outside.
Well, isn't that amazing? It wasn't Hunter Biden's fault, according to the defense. It was the gun store owner or salesperson is at fault here. Typical Biden arguments. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I'm not responsible for my own actions as an adult. Again, our system of justice is under the microscope. It failed for former President Trump, and I'm deeply concerned it's going to fail again in face of overwhelming evidence against Hunter. He's been arrogant, just like his father. He thinks he can get away with anything, and the American people are watching because